getting frequent.
In terms of this one now, we've talked a little bit about what you can do. What are the biggest misconceptions now about suicide that need to be addressed?
Well, there's some myths, okay. One of them is that if you've done it before and you were unsuccessful, you are not going to do it again.
That's tough love, right? I've heard that kind of...
That is very wrong.
Right.
Because more often than not, if you've tried and didn't succeed, you will try again, okay? That's one. So that's a thing to look out for. Second is if you have although it's a factor, no? If you have like a deep spiritual life, that helps. But not everyone who has a deep spiritual life is immune or protected from. Because again, there are still, you have to look at the stressors involved. So you'll say, oh no, he's not or she's not going to do it because she's very deeply religious.
Yes.
It has happened even in the religious sector.
Can you tell the difference between depression and clinical depression, where people will need drugs? They need
psychiatrists
an
just have it, I think, in one group. It's all clinical depression, and there are parameters, I believe. If it has been going on for an X number of weeks, then it's time to really consult or seek professional help. Like in my own experience with bereaved parents, one of the important things that I ask them is, are you able to sleep? Because sleep is a huge need for the body to heal, for the mind to heal. So if you're not sleeping properly, then I will tell them, if you're still not sleeping by this period, I would suggest that, go see a psychiatrist. So because they're the only ones that can prescribe, right?
Right.
Yeah, something to help you sleep.
Why did you decide to focus on grief counseling? I'm
okay.
curious.
Well, from my own experience, I lost my father early, and I lost my son in 1998. So that's why I went into grief education and counseling.
And in this particular instance, again, the parents are the last ones. I mean, what would you give them as advice and how to deal with it?
Suicide is a very, very difficult. It's what qualifies as complicated grief. It's complicated enough that your child goes ahead of you. Suicide further complicates it. So the journey is longer, it's more difficult. And this period, their emotions are very, very raw, very, very new. It takes a while. It's a good thing that, they're talking about it. I have met parents who have, lost children to suicide, and they've managed to turn the negative in a way around by advocating for suicide awareness.
There's guilt. There's a lot of guilt involved.
Yes, there is a lot of guilt involved. That's why I didn't like it on Twitter when they were, I said the parents are already dealing with enough guilt.
Right.
Don't add to it unless you've been there yourself. It's not good to speculate or to judge. It's a difficult place to be. Yes.
In the work that you're doing now, do you think one of the things we've seen, at least in the Philippines, is that the society has changed? The overseas OFWs have gone abroad, children are growing up without their parents. The complexity of the society, values are changing.
Yes.
Are these all, is this part of what's contributing how change is affecting?
Could be, yes, because it's difficult. The landscape of the Filipino family has changed. The face of the Filipino family has changed because of the OFW phenomenon, because a lot of, marriages have not worked out for one reason or another. So I'm all for strengthening the family, but at the same time, I'm also all for showing more support to families that are in transition, because they're a huge part of society now. So rather than make the children in that family feel, that you're different, why not show them, I think we need to be supportive of them.
Of the families.
Of the families,
of the,
yes. Of the
they're
children, of the
victims of,
families.
yeah.
Yes,
Of,
yeah.
again, if in your best case scenario here, what do we take out of this tragedy?
Well, of course, you wish that it would never happen, but, suicide is preventable, but not 100%. But we should, I don't know, put in more safety measures, perhaps, in schools so that we can lessen the numbers. Talk about it, more openly, discuss it with the student body. It's not like you can't turn a blind eye to it and pretend that,
Yes.
that it didn't exist, right? Because what if it happens again?
Correct.
Yeah, so I would, put out forums, information, at the earliest, levels, maybe programs for families to strengthen, value formation and resiliency building, teach kids to be more resilient.
In your mind, how much of a factor was the education system in this?
It's hard to put percentages, but what I'm saying is it was a contributing factor, but not the only factor, So it's not, for me, it's not fair to pin it all on UP.
Fantastic. Okay, Kathy, please, is there any place that people can go to if they need help?
Well, I know there have been suicide hotlines, that have been
yes.
brought for Natasha Goldborn Foundation.
Her daughter,
and then
yeah.
there's like In Touch Foundation also. And if I must say, when in doubt, better to err on the side of caution,
Fantastic. Okay, thank you. Thank you so
Thank you,
much
Maria.
for speaking with us. We've been speaking
Thank
with
you.
Kathy Babao. She is a grief educator and counselor, the author of 2 books on dealing with loss. We're talking about Cristel Tejeda and what it shows about Philippine society. Please send your questions, comments. She is also on Twitter. It's at Kathy Babao.
Yes.
I'm Maria Ressa. Thank you for joining us on Talk Thursday.